Okay, now it is 2 minutes past 10 and we have reached a certain number of participants, so I think that we can start. Can you hear me well? Yes? The sound is okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Then good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And on behalf of Innovation Norway, it is then my pleasure to welcome all of you to this information and matchmaking session in relation to the third call for proposals for the Business Development and Innovation Croatia program. My name is Annelise Rognedalen. I'm the program director and also the legal representative of Innovation Norway's small branch office in Zagreb. So the aim of this session is twofold. First of all, it is to inform you about the call for proposals, the highlights and also the specificities of this program. And secondly, to facilitate potential project partnerships between Croatian applicants and entities from Norway. Then just some practicalities. This meeting will be recorded, and by participating, you accept this. And of course, you can choose to keep your camera on or off during the session. We plan to hold this meeting until 10:50. We will have a Q&A session at around 10:40. So please make a note of your questions during the presentations, and you can ask us at the end of the meeting. Remember to stay muted during the presentations as the background noise are quite disturbing. Then we will have the matchmaking session, which will start at 11 o'clock. You have all signed up in this B2Match portal with a profile, and some of you have already also booked meetings. But please remember that you can book meetings also during this presentation. So all the way up to 10:50 or 11, you can book meetings. Then it is important that those that are asked to participate in a meeting actually accept it and also set a timing for it. The system will suggest as automatic timing if you would like to do that. Formally, the matchmaking will continue until 2 o'clock, but the portal will be open for many days and months, so it's not a problem. So by this short introduction, I think we can move on to the presentation itself. If one of my colleagues can push the button. So this is our agenda today, and we are not sure about the external guest who were supposed to present, but I understand that it will not be possible. Is that so?
Yes, unfortunately, Mrs. Bedalov is sick, so she is not able to participate today.
We will share with you some project stories anyhow. So then I would just say a few words about the background for the program and innovation before my colleagues continue. If we put on the next slide. And the next one. So Innovation Norway, for those of you who does not know us, we are the most important instrument of the Norwegian government to help and assist Norwegian businesses to develop and grow, and also with internationalization, with funding in form of loan guarantees and grants, etc. And since 2007, we have also been acting as a fund operator for some EEA or Norway grants funded programs. And in Croatia, we are the fund operator for the Business Development and Innovation Croatia program. I think we can move on to the next one. The next slide. The other way around. The other direction. Something happened, but while my colleagues are working on the technical issues, I would like to say that as I guess all of you know, Norway is not a member of the EU, but we are a member of the European Economic Area Agreement, the EEA agreement, and through this agreement we also have access to EU's internal market. So the EEA and Norway grants is a part of the EEA agreement, and it has two main overall objectives. One is to contribute to the reduction of economic and social disparities in the EEA area, but also to strengthen the bilateral relations between the donor states, which is Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein for the EEA grants, and for Norway grants it is Norway only. So in Croatia, for the business program, we have Norway grants, so this means that it is financed by Norway. So in this okay, we can move on. There are business development and innovation programs in 10 countries that are receiving EEA or Norway grants funding. And Innovation Norway is the fund operator in 4 of these countries. It is in Bulgaria, Croatia, Greece, and in Romania. And in the other 6 countries, Innovation Norway is a so-called donor program partner, meaning that it is a national operator, but Innovation Norway is acting as an advisor to the operator. So I think this was more or less my part. Then I will give the screen rather, to my colleagues Egli Ilic and Marin Paladin in Zagreb office to present the program as such, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Egli Ilic, and I'm Senior Program Officer based here in Croatia. And I will tell you a few words about our program in general. Many of you already know, are familiar with our program, but maybe just to say that the overall objective of our program is to increase value of Croatian enterprises, and also to strengthen bilateral cooperation between Croatian enterprises and Norwegians. And I will get back to that issue later during the presentation. But for the time being, to give you some more intro about the program, so the overall budget of our program is approximately 22 million. And we provide grants, and we operate through open calls. And the whole process of selection of companies who get the grant and this decision making is done without intermediation of any Croatian body. So we are totally independent, even though we have a partner here in Croatia, and this is a Croatian Chamber of Economy. So some of you might have seen the information about this event on their website as well. Our main target groups are private companies, mostly SMEs, even though we can also support large companies. We have 2 focus areas, green industry innovation and blue growth, and Marin will tell you in more detail about this later. But it is important to know that if you apply for the funding, your project has to be classified within one of these 2 focus areas. I have mentioned that the objective of this program is value creation. Some of you may not have full understanding of what value creation means, but basically it means that it has to create, it has to lead to increased competitiveness of the company in terms of increased revenues and increased profit. It is good that it has a benefit for society as well in terms of increased number of jobs created. And it is also a requirement that it has a good impact on the environment in terms of, for example, decreased emissions of CO2, decreased consumption of energy, or some other green element. We also have some concrete results that we expect from the project to be achieved. So each project has to result in new innovative technology, either applied or developed. And when we say applied, it means that some kind of innovation has to be applied within the company. For example, some new technology or new technological advanced process applied, or it has to be, or new technology has to be developed. That would, in that case, be some new solution developed on the international level in case of R&D projects. And of course, I have mentioned the green element. So green projects have to contribute to some green indicators. Blue projects do not have to have concrete green indicators, but it is normal to expect that blue projects also have to have some kind of green component. Of course, it is for R&D project, it is important that there are some intellectual property rights registered. And we also measure the results of the program through the established bilateral cooperation with Norwegian entities. Maybe some highlights about the results already achieved. Most of you probably know that we have already had 2 calls. We have recently closed the second call. And overall, we have had 92 project applications, and of which we have approved altogether by now 36. Actually, we have signed 36 contracts, but have approved a little bit more projects. Concretely, it is 42, but unfortunately, some of them have pulled out for various reasons. As you know, we all work in a challenging environment, and some of the companies could not accept this challenge and go into the investment. But we think that the success rate is quite high. It is a little bit less than 50%, which means that the projects are generally quite good. We have currently 33 projects in the implementation, and 3 of them are already completed. We have many project applications with partners, and 6 of projects are with Norwegian partners. Unfortunately, in the second call, we did not have Norwegian partners, but we hope that with third call, there will be more partners from Norway, and we hope that this event will result in some good partnerships. As you can see from this slide, we have allocated approximately 13 million euros of grants, and which has generated approximately 26 million euros of investment. This slide is also very interesting. You can see on the right-hand side the geographical distribution of our projects in Croatia. You see the concentration in Zagreb, city of Zagreb, and Zagreb County. There are a number of projects in Istria and in Dalmatia, and the rest of Croatia, unfortunately, is not very covered, but we hope that with third call there will be some differences. And we are very proud that our program will generate approximately 500 new employments and 16 new intellectual property rights. And with third call, it will be even more. So there is some concrete value creation with our program. And Maren will tell you now some facts about the third call, which is currently open.
Okay, thank you, Egli. So first, you can see the allocation distributing throughout our focus areas, and which are blue growth and green industry innovations, and also divided by project schemes. Either it is small grant scheme or individual project scheme. So you know what are the basic numbers, and this is not like it's carved in stone. We can redistribute it a little bit if we find it necessary when the applications your applications arrive. So basically, when you apply with your projects, you decide to apply either with a small grant scheme or individual project scheme. You see here what are the differences, and also your project has to fall under one of our focus areas, either blue growth or green industry innovation. It's important to say that applicants can only be SMEs or large companies from Croatia, and they have to function accordance to legislation on commercial companies. That means that applicants cannot be universities, cannot be NGOs, or even crafts, which in Croatian is obrti or paušalni obrti. So all of them can be partners, but cannot be applicants. And of course, Norwegian companies also cannot be applicants, but they are more than welcome to be partners. So another, let's say, differentiation is that your project is either investment or R&D. Sometimes they overlap, but you and we must decide whether your project is investment or research and development, because depending on that, you get your aid according to GBER. So regarding investment projects, they have to apply existing technologies or processes, but have to be new to the company. And regarding R&D projects, they have to develop new product or services, and they have to be innovative at the international level. Here's one comprehensive slide regarding the regional investment aid or research and development aid. Also, we have some other articles that cover all of the activities. We won't get through this in details, but just for you to bear in mind. And also, there are some, let's say, bonuses that can be also applied for small companies or medium companies, and also regarding research and development for the meaningful collaboration with partners or on R&D activities. Here's the new regional aid map for Croatia for this new period, where you can see that grant rates are significantly higher than in the previous period. And for the large companies, you can get 50% if you are in Pannonian Croatia and North Croatia. Adriatic Croatia can get maximum of 40% aid, and City of Zagreb can get 35%, and they all can be increased for 20% if you are a small company, or by 10% if you are a medium-sized company. These are some classifications regarding the European Commission rules. So you have to get into those, let's say, ranges for micro, small, medium, or large company. Regarding investment projects, we can support the setup of a new establishment, extension of the capacity of existing establishment, or your diversification of your let's say products or your services, and also fundamental change in the overall production process. And also, you have to bear in mind that equipment that is purchased and within this program has to be maintained kept and maintained for at least 5 years after the end of the project. We have some sectors that cannot be supported in this way. So that is transport and infrastructure, energy production, shipbuilding, textile, primary agricultural production, and fisheries and aquaculture. Basically, in the blue, we'll get to that, but in the blue growth, practically you can also only have R&D projects. Investments are only, let's say, achievable in the tourism area, but also we have some other rules guiding that. So R&D projects are supported through the Article 25 of GBER, and we support experimental development within these 4 technology readiness levels, ranging from 5 to 8. And we must also say that experimental development does not include routine or periodic changes made to existing projects or processes. Regarding the criteria for research and development activities, we follow the Fraschetti manual, which is issued by OECD, and every R&D project has to fulfill the 5 criteria for identifying R&Ds. So the product has to be novel. It has to be creative. It has to be uncertain about the final outcome. Systematic means that you have to plan the activities and budget the whole process, and also has to be transferable or reproducible, so it can be put on the market. And regarding the timeline for our 3rd call, we launched it last month, November 2022. Today is our matchmaking event and introduction to the 3rd call. Deadline for submission of applications is 31st of January next year. We plan to have a practical webinar for project applications somewhere in the, let's say, mid-January, most likely. And the deadline for implementing the travel grants is 27th of January next year. And we also have to have in mind that the last deadline for project implementation, meaning that all the projects have to be finished by the 30th of April 2024. And that's it from me for now.
Thank you, Marin. Okay, before I move on with my partnership concept, I would just like to mention that our team has recently produced one short video about the third call possibilities, investment possibilities, and I'm now inviting you to check our YouTube channel on EEA and Norway grants. The video is very interesting, and it is in Croatian. So if you have missed some of the highlights that Marin has mentioned, you can catch it up in the video. Okay. Now I can move on with the partnership concept, which is very important subject, because one of the reasons why we are here is also to enhance the partnership projects with the Norwegian and Croatian companies. Okay, just to mention that partnership is not mandatory. You can perfectly well apply only as a Croatian applicant and get the funding. But you have to bear in mind that now we have only 6 million euros available for allocation. And we expect to have a huge number of project applications, and we will have to rate those project applications, and the best applications will receive actually funding. And whether you have a partner or not might be a decisive element of getting the funding. When you don't have a partner, you can still subcontract some of the services. But in that case, you will have to find that subcontractor service provider through relevant procurement processes. Okay, so when it comes to partnership, there are two partners possible. When I say two partners, I mean partners from either from Croatia or from Norway. So no third country partnership would be possible. I think that today we have one participant from Serbia who would like to have a partnership with a Croatian company. Unfortunately, this is not possible. So partners can be only from Croatia or from Norway. And what needs to be emphasized once again is that the applicant can only be a company, while partners can be companies, can be some research institute, university, or some other entities, regardless of their legal status. It also needs to be mentioned that irrespective of partners, it is always the Croatian applicant who is in the driving seat and who is fully responsible of the implementation of the project. Also, partners must be real partners, which means that they need to contribute with their specific competences, knowledge, and expertise. Sometimes we have seen some projects where the partners have been project managers or somebody who would carry out some publicity activities, but these can be easily subcontracted, and these would not be acknowledged as real partners within our program. Yes, and some additional point, partnerships are possible for investment projects and for R&D projects. When we talk about partnership concept, there are two basic partnership models that are possible. One is when partner contributes only with competence. And in that case, the applicant is full beneficiary of the entire grant, and the partner provides services to applicant and issues an invoice to the applicant, and then applicant requests for reimbursement from Innovation Norway, and Innovation Norway reimburses directly to the applicant. And of course, the applicant is fully responsible for the implementation of the project. And in such a type of partnerships, no collaboration bonus in terms of additional percentage points for grant can be approved. We have one example of such a partnership. It is Vis Promotex, who is a producer of umbrellas, promotional umbrellas. They need a partner to help them start recycling of extensive waste which they produce, which they generate in the production. They have Croatian partner called Mare Pro, and the partner has extensive knowledge in textile industry, because partner has 30 years of experience in this industry, and they contribute within partnership with competence and specific competence and knowledge. But still, with Promotex, the applicant is fully responsible for the implementation. The second type of partnership is when partner contributes not only with competence and specific knowledge and expertise, but also with financing resources. So partner also finances part of the budget. And in that case, Innovation Norway gives grant also to a partner and signs a specific contract not only with the applicant, but also with with a partner. In such cases, when both applicant and the partner are beneficiaries, you can apply for the so-called collaboration bonus, which means that you can get extra 15 percentage points on the grant rate. So this is a very, very good partnership structure to get extra bonus, but this bonus is not granted automatically. So please check GBER Article 25 to see under which conditions you can qualify for this extra 15% of collaboration bonus. Even though they're both partners who get the grant, there's still a Croatian applicant who is fully responsible for the implementation of the project. We also have several examples in Croatia of such kind of partnership. But maybe to mention one of them is the collaboration between a Croatian company Mar Service and Clean Sea Solutions from Norway. So they are jointly developing a new product called Aquapod, which is intended for marine litter treatment. It will be totally new on the international market. So they both participate with their own funding, and they will both be sharing intellectual property rights. And this kind of partnership we would like to have more within a third call. Okay, where to find a partner? You can find a lot of partners within Innovation Norway. You can go to these websites, Norwegian Innovation Clusters. There is also a Business Norway platform. Previously, it was Explorer, but basically it is the same platform. You can find a partner through such occasions like B2 Match, which we organize from time to time. And a few times a year, we normally also organize some physical conferences. Earlier this year, we had a conference in Greece. There was a conference in Oslo Innovation Week. And such conferences are really good opportunities to find a partner. And if all else fails, there is also EEA and Norway grants database where you can register and you can find your partner to develop your project idea. Okay, Marin will tell you something about project examples.
Since we are slowly running out of time, I think we can go really quick through this. As we mentioned before, we have green industry innovation and blue growth. There are some examples for activities which are eligible and not eligible. This is all described in our call text. You can find it also in frequently asked questions, and you will also have this presentation later, so we don't have to go through it thoroughly. We can also we can only mention here that it's not eligible to get involved with energy production within the green industry innovation focus area. We have here one project example, investment project from green area, but as I said, we better move on. Regarding blue growth, you can see here in this third column that practically all investments projects are not eligible, only maybe in coastal tourism, but you have to be careful that your activities don't increase carbon footprint or reduce biodiversity. And we also have this successful, let's say, example from blue growth, but Egli mentioned it before. Okay.
And thank you, Marin. Some practical information which may be useful for you when you apply for the grant. So first step after our call closes, we will do admin and eligibility check to see if you're eligible as the applicant, if your project is eligible, and if you have provided all the required documents. That would be admin and eligibility check. Once you have passed that, we will do technical and financial analysis. When I say financial, it means analysis of you as the applicant to see whether you have strong finances to support this project and also to sustain your business in the future. But also to see if your project is profitable, because we do not finance unprofitable projects. If you pass financial analysis, we will also do technical analysis. It is basically our team in Zagreb who does the analysis. But of course, if there are some let's say more complicated projects which we do not have knowledge about, we can also consult other experts within Innovation Norway or elsewhere. If you pass also technical analysis, then your project will be presented to our committee in Oslo. And we will have to, Marin and myself will defend your project in front of the committee. But we have to say that basically all projects that are presented to the committee are then approved. And you will then get the offer of the grant amount. How to avoid some common mistakes that are that we encounter when we analyze the project applications. So we have noticed that many of our project promoters, many of our applicants, at least it was the case with first two calls, do not read thoroughly legal documents, do not read GBER or program rules, which ends up in claiming some expenditures which are not eligible, or in general some areas which we cannot finance. So it is always good to study thoroughly the program documents and GBER, so you are able to come up with the project application, which is prepared in a quality manner. It is also important that you study the eligibility rates which you can receive. Normally, we do not approve the de minimis expenses under de minimis, which is a bit higher rate. So it is good that you study it in details so that you're not disappointed at a later stage when your project is assessed. Also, make sure that you choose the appropriate partner and real partner when you apply for the grant, because if you apply with a partner just to get the collaboration bonus, it would not be a good thing, because we will not accept that. Also, it is important that when you do financial forecasts of your project, you do realistic forecasts, because we have seen in some project applications that applicants have indicated that they will achieve a profit of 2,000% or something, which is obviously not realistic. And this is not something that we take like very positive, because we prefer that you make realistic forecasts than, you know, to make unrealistic just for the project to look better. Because if your project is very profitable, let's say, then we would be asking you, why do you need funding at all? So it is always good to be as realistic as possible. And also for R&D projects, it is good that you make some realistic estimate of number of hours you will need to develop new solution. Also, if you inflate your budget with too many person hours that you will need, then it will be trimmed down to a reasonable level. You can find some more information on that topic under essential reading on our website, so I will not go into too many details for the sake of saving time. Okay, what can you expect once the call closes? So Marin and I have to work very fast once the call closes, and we will try to finalize everything within 3 or 4 months. It will, of course, depend on how many applications which we will receive. If we receive 100 applications, then unfortunately we cannot finish that in such a short time. So you can expect, it would be, let's say, reasonable to expect to have first contracts within April and May. And you will have approximately 12 months for the implementation, because as Marin mentioned earlier, all project activities have to be finalized by April 30th, 2024. This is not something that we can extend, so we all have to fit into that absolute deadline, and we all have to be very fast, you and us. Our working language is English, so whenever you have some kind of question for us, it is you need to use English language. Of course, when you call us, we will speak in Croatian, but all communication in writing has to be in English. It is also good to know that our program works in like reimbursements. You first have to pay for the expenses, and then you can claim for reimbursements. So we do not make direct payments to your suppliers, which is something you need to know in order to be able to plan your liquidity. But you are entitled to 10 or maximum 20% of the advance payment. We can approve that. so it can help you also with your liquidity issues. And of course, co-financing has to be ensured from your own resources, or you can get a loan. But of course, you will have to provide us with the evidence that the bank would be willing to provide you with the loan. And yes, payments are done directly from Norway to you as a beneficiary, or also to a partner in case of that kind of partnership structure. That would be all from me. So
Thank you.
now, if any of you has any
Just reply.
questions.
Thank you very much, Egli and Marin, for a very good presentation. While you have been presenting, we have received a few questions, but there's still a little bit time left, so you can raise your hand if you have questions. But let me first reply to those that we have received. So there are two types of questions, I think, about eligibility. One is asking about the cooperative, if they are eligible. One was asking about micro companies, and one was asking about the SMEs. So in general, the general rule is that all private companies established under the Croatian Companies Act, they are eligible as an applicant. Micro enterprise are considered to be an SME. But it is important that you have been established for at least 1 year at the deadline of the application period. So that means the company needs to have been established at the latest January this year in order to be eligible. So this is important to have in mind. About the cooperatives, it is also that one company has to be the main applicant and the main beneficiary of the project results. It cannot be a group of companies. But if you have some more specific questions about cooperatives, then please send us a short message, a short mail. Then, of course, the recording from this meeting and also the presentation will be shared with you, so that's clear. And in case we receive really a lot of good applications, then we will need to ask for help from some other colleagues, because we also need to finish at the latest in May, as Egli and Marin said, unless we have projects that have really short implementation period. There was one question about a specific Croatian term that I cannot reply to. Sadruge. Is Sadruge eligible? Are Sadruge eligible? I know somebody who understand.
These are cooperatives or associations.
Okay, the same.
Yeah. So basically, they can be partners, but not applicants.
Yeah. And then I have received, there is one question about public procurement. Of course, it is the regulations for the EEA and Norway grants that require public procurement, the procedure, and transparency in the selection of suppliers. Maybe Egli can say a few words about the public procurement procedure we have in the program.
Yes, so we have our program has a specific procurement guidelines which we follow, and these are similar to Pravila za Neunovce, which you are probably familiar with, which are, let's say, simplified. These are not that complicated, but we still have some thresholds on when we have to go as an open tender, and the threshold is 60,000 euros when you have to do the open tender. However, our guidelines are applied only when the grant rate is below 50%, and when the estimated value of procurement is below European thresholds. When this is not the case, so when the grant rate is 50% or more, or the estimated value of procurement is equal or higher than European thresholds, then you have to go through National Procurement Act, which means that you have to publish your procurement on EOYN, and this procedure is a bit more complicated. It can give you a lot of headache, but this is how it is, and this is what we have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you. Then there is a question about the partner's role in an investment project. This is also explained in the slides about partnership in our presentation. But in general, the Norwegian partner could be sharing their best practice. It could be within the same line of business, yes, but it could also be an expert from an institution like a research institution or university, etc. And to share the best practice and experience from similar projects or give advice. It cannot be, it has to be expertise that this person or this company has. It's not something that could be purchased from a lot of different consultants. It has to be something special, tailor-made for the project. Then there is another long question. I think we have to revert to this in writing after the meeting because it is very project specific related.
There was Annalise, there was one question about obert, whether these are in Croatian, it is some kind of crafts.
Yeah,
If you
I think
want
Marian mentioned this. That they are
Yes,
not
I mean,
eligible.
Yes, they don't come under the
Zakon o trgovačkim društvima.
yes, what's called commercial
Law, you can say
commercial act.
Croatian.
So they don't fall under the act, which in Croatian is Zakon o trgovačkim društvima. So for this call or for this program, they're not eligible as an applicant.
Then we have one nice posting saying that they have used the public procurement procedure in a previous project and it went very well and it was easy to use. So that was, thank you very much for saying that. I think there is one hand raised, or at least I see one hand. Not sure who it is, but please.
Luka.
Hello. My name is Luka Matasic. I'm representing Park Life, the playground manufacturer here in Croatia. So mainly I receive all the answers through this written Q&A session. So everything is clear. Just maybe if we missed to apply for this matchmaking session today afternoon, is it too late to do it later? Or if we didn't find the proper partner today on that list, could we make it in some future periods or not? Because
Absolutely.
you mentioned today also that there is a list of potential partners in Norway, which to be honest, we missed to check all the list. And there are some industries that we would like to target. So can we do it in the future?
Absolutely. So this, when it comes to the matchmaking, I can reply to that now. All of you have registered a profile in the B2Match platform, and you received a message yesterday from a colleague, Ranveig, where there is a link to this platform that you have to enter afterwards when you're going into the matchmaking session. This platform will be open for months, I would say 2 months actually, during the call period. So you can actually enter this platform later on and look at the profiles and request meetings after our session today. Absolutely. And also, as it was presented in one of the slides, there is an overview of where you could find a potential partner. And I think these are good places to start. And then I can also mention that we have an open call for travel support. So if you would like to invite a potential partner from Norway to visit your facilities in Croatia, he or she could apply for a travel support, or also a Croatian representative could go to Norway if that's something you want to see or inspect or meet there. So this is also a possibility, and you need to travel before the 27th of January. That's what we have set as a deadline.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't think there are more questions. Everything was clear. That's good. Very good.
If anybody has not received the answer, maybe.
Yeah, there's one specific question, but that's project related, so I think we reply to that separately.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, if I should say a bit more about the matchmaking, it is actually, I don't know how many has requested meeting now, but there were a few, and you can still book meetings. You just push the button request meetings when you find some interesting profiles. And then the one that receive a request need to accept it, of course. And then there's in the system automatically suggested a time slot, which is available for both partners. Or you can agree just to have a short meeting and then meet later on separately in a Teams meeting. That's also possible. But please check if you have got any requests when you log into the B2Match platform, and you can also still request meetings. I think that's what are the instructions for the matchmaking. There are no more questions, I think now. Okay. This was just a comment. No, if there are no more questions or comments, then I think we can end this part of the meeting. A little bit behind the schedule, but still time to pick up a coffee, some coffee or water before you have the matchmaking sessions. And if you have any questions related to the program, we have this contact email, Crow Innovation, where you can ask questions. You can, of course, also call us. But if it is specifically related to your project idea and you would like feedback, preliminary feedback, then it is very good if you can write a mail to us, very short and to the point, what exactly you are planning to do and what are the questions. And also, please remember that we would very much like to have a partnership project, but the structure of the partnership, you'd have to pay attention when you construct this partnership. So to make sure it is eligible. Yeah. All right. So this is the beautiful view from our office. This is inside the office in Zagreb. This is a beautiful view. Yeah, thank you. So then on behalf of Innovation Norway, I would like to say thank you to all the participants. Thank you for your interest and for your time. Thank you also to my colleagues Egli and Marin for the nice preparations and presentations. And then what can we say more? Good luck with the meetings, and we hope to receive good quality applications at the end. No, there was a hand raised suddenly. Marina. Somebody wants to ask a question in the last minute?
Was it a mistake?
There is one hand raised. Mistake. Maybe.
Okay.
You can write to us afterwards. Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a good meeting session and a nice day and week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.